Welcome to Astro Venture, the DSLR astrophotography channel. Hey there, Astro Ventures. Welcome back. If you're new to this astrophotography channel, my name is George, and this is the astrophotography channel for DSLR and mirrorless camera bodies, combined with the lenses we already own, and a simple star tracker like the Skygetter Pro or the Star Adventurer. Well, it's December, and new moon is coming up pretty quickly here, December 22nd, and so it's time to take a look at a few suggested targets for the month of December. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is knock out some of the targets that I suggest for those with Astromod or full spectrum cameras. And so the first one that I'm going to suggest to you is going to be NGC 7822. NGC 7822 is the question mark nebula, and this is a pretty good size nebula. However, like I said, Astromod full spectrum, that's what it lends itself best to. 300 to 600 millimeters, and you're going to find this target just off of Cepheus, which I often refer to as the house. And so that's going to be a great target for you. It's nice and high, and it's in between Cepheus and the readily recognizable Cassiopeia. Okay, next target that I want to suggest to you is NGC 1499. So NGC 1499, and this particular target is the Astromod full spectrum. Getting those out of the way first. The Californian Nebula is going to be a target for those cameras that are sensitive to the hydrogen alpha. I have captured this target before with a stock camera, and if you want to shoot between 100 and 300 millimeters, that'll work great. And whenever I give millimeter focal lengths, I'm always referencing off of using a crop sensor camera. So NGC 1499, California Nebula, great target, but it does lend itself to Astromod or full spectrum. Next target. Now we're going to get into some of these targets that are for stock cameras. You don't need to have an Astromod. So the first one that I'm going to head to here is the Orion Nebula. Now, this one is actually chock full of targets. So to get started here, first and foremost, the sorry, brain got stuck. The Orion Nebula right now, between now and February, is as high as it's going to get in the sky. Now it just becomes a matter of when does it best fit your time. So in December, earlier in the evening, it is starting to rise before it gets late, but it's over in the east. For me, over to the east is just bad sky. It doesn't work well. But if you've got good clear skies to the east, you can start shooting on this thing, 8, 9 o'clock at night. For myself, I need to wait till it gets up around 10:30 at night because I have to get away from those eastern lights. Focal length. With this particular one, if you wanted to, you can shoot the Orion Nebula at 500 millimeters and get a nice, large, full, fill in that image. Now, you can back this out because, as I said, this is target rich. If you back it out away from the Orion Nebula, you can start to include the neighbor over here where we have the Flame and Horsehead Nebula, quite famous targets. And then from there, you have Casper the Friendly Ghost that's not too far from there. And like I said, if you just keep backing out, and one of the targets that I want to do is, you can see how I have Orion framed up in here. With a 50 millimeter lens, you are able to capture all of the Orion constellation there, along with Barnard's Loop, which is a nice hydrogen alpha, arcing loop that goes kind of up and around through the constellation of Orion. And with this, you're able to pick up that hydrogen alpha, the flame, the Horsehead, the Orion Nebula. You can get the beautiful prominent stars of the belt of Orion. There's just so much in there. So for this particular target, depending on how much you want to capture, you can shoot anywhere from 50 millimeters all the way up to 500, depending on how much you want to fill it in. But get on this target because, like I said, through December, January, February, it's as high as it's going to get for us here in the northern hemisphere before it starts heading back south. And so it really just comes down to what time does it best fit you. Okay, moving on from the Orion Nebula, and this is kind of an old one that I have mentioned a few times. However, it's still a great target. If you have not photographed the Andromeda galaxy, M31, you're going to want to get that. And M31, the Andromeda, is just off of Cassiopeia. And let's see here. There's Cassiopeia. Over here is Andromeda. Let me zoom this in a bit closer. So you see that? Cassiopeia. You've got Andromeda. And this target here, 1 to 300 millimeters. And you can shoot this with a stock camera. Like I said, I've brought this one up before, but I'm really encouraging you, if you haven't got to it, get on this target. And then the last one that I'm going to recommend, let's see here, while it's still nice and high, is over here at the Triangulum galaxy. Second largest galaxy that's available for us to shoot in the night sky. And with this particular target, minimum focal length 300 millimeters, on up from there 600, 700 depending on what you have, but minimum focal length of 300 millimeters. No need for an Astro mod. There's plenty in there. And with this particular target, I have shot it at 1 hour, 3 hour, up to 7 hours worth of data. And what I have found is with 3 hours, I can get a really good structure to this galaxy. However, if you have the means and the time, because we do have these very long nights right now, I suggest go for like a 7-hour night and really get on this one, because the longer you go, you're going to start to pick up some of the additional gases further out that kind of radiate out from the galaxy. But it's a great one. It's one of the two that are really close, that you can get really good structure with a decent size, because I know myself, I really like to print my photos, and I don't have to do much in the way of cropping down with this one. So there you have it. These are the targets I'm suggesting. NGC 7822, the question mark nebula. NGC 1499, California Nebula. Those two are better off for Astro mod. However, they can be captured with stock. Moving on from there, the Orion Nebula all the way up to the Flame, the Horsehead, including Barnard's Loop if you decide to go super wide at 50 millimeters. And get that one now, and up until February, it's as high as it's going to get for us here in the north. And then lastly, just kind of revisiting M31 Andromeda and M33 Triangulum. Great for stock cameras, and you don't need massive focal length because they are relatively big in the night sky. So there you have it. If you are new to Astroventure, consider liking the video, subscribing, and sharing this video out so that we can continue to grow, and we're closing in on 1,000 subscribers. And if you would also like to join us, we have a Facebook group called Astroventure DSLR, and you'll find a lot of like-minded people sharing their work. So until next time, I wish you clear skies and uneventful nights.